crackheads and VIPs an idea in regard to there is no long or really strong tethered deployment setup until something happens, particularly with the traditional markets. What you're going to want to be looking for if there's going to be a bounce here, instead of doing a strong, tethered deployment and or a long, I wouldn't blindly long Bitcoin if it's hitting the weekly 10 as traditional markets. This ticker right here, the NQ1 exclamation, which is NASDAQ indices, which Bitcoin is trading with essentially almost directly. It's instead of trying to deploy exactly as Bitcoin hits something, I think that's a little dangerous because this could go down a lot more. For example, longing or deploying tether right as Bitcoin's hovering around or wicking below the weekly 10, things could really spill down from here. So to be cautious with this, with tether deployment and or longing, which when this signal happens, I will post on it, you're looking for some type of idea where you have a local high and it falls back down, and then it breaks the local high. That's what you're looking for, but there would be two entries, right? As it's breaking the local high, maybe even only enter whatever Bitcoin's doing as long as it's, has hit support. But on this ticker, be entering as it's breaking support, but the strong entry would be more along the lines of when, on the 1 hour chart at least, this chart comes back down and makes a higher low after breaking the lower high. It happens all the time. So for example, in this one, you had a local high, it came back down, it broke it, some entry there, wait, higher low, you're entering almost again where you entered the first time on this higher low here, right? But it saves you from this coming up and spilling back down by doing that type of entry. There, and Bitcoin should do roughly, something fairly similar to this. It'll also create a little upside down U shape. It'll break a local high if indeed this chart can bounce from here. So what would happen here is something to this effect. I don't know if this is quite a local high, but you probably want a little more activity. Something like this effect, a retest. Once it comes to break that, adding, in crypto, doing maybe a quarter, maybe 25% of what you're looking to do and waiting for a higher low on this ticker. And then as it's scooping up, then start adding the rest of your position on whatever altcoin. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you are blindly longing, not blindly, but longing just a trend line or an EMA, and Bitcoin is looking like it's bouncing and Ethereum looks like it's bouncing, but this chart is not, Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to succumb and just come flat on their faces if this isn't getting a bounce. So similar to how I say for altcoins, and I stress on YouTube and Discord, I always say Bitcoin is your primary indicator for this altcoin, besides Luna probably, right? But everything except for Luna. But Bitcoin is the primary indicator for altcoin. Well, this is the primary indicator for Bitcoin, unfortunately. Hopefully I won't have to say that in 2 years, because Bitcoin won't be trading so closely with this, but this, and honestly, I hate saying this, but this is your primary indicator. And I want folks, instead of blindly buying dips or whatever, longing at horizontals on Bitcoin, I would wait until this chart looks like it's found support here, breaks a local high, and then whatever crypto's doing, enter some there, but most of your position, wait for a higher low on this chart, not just on Bitcoin chart, wait for a higher low on this chart, but Bitcoin should be doing something similar as well. And as it's starting to scoop up, that's when you want to enter some of your positions and then start putting in stops on whatever crypto positions you're looking for. And this behavior happens quite a bit here. So you have, sometimes the effect of this is it's not perfect. So you had a big dip, you had a local high, you had a breakout, so you'd only be a quarter in, you wait for a higher low, but sometimes it never comes because it just violently comes up. That could happen as well, but at least on the 1 hour, you saw some form of higher low. And if you zoomed into this point, so the higher lows here sometimes are tricky, and it's harder to tell if it's a higher low. You might have to zoom in, but you can see here, a local high went down, broke the local high. As it breaks the local high, that would be entering some, comes up, a lot more than what you'd wish for, but then at this low, once it starts coming up, that's when you just want to wait to enter. Even though you're missing out on some of the move, you just, in this case, you don't want to be guessing what a low is. Don't try to catch knives. And so this would probably be about the worst it could get. You're only a quarter in. Bitcoin, has a big rip up. Its pullback when you buy is a little bit higher from your first buy. So let's see on a percentage basis on this chart. That could be a whole 3% on Bitcoin, but it's going to save you. If you can wait for something like this to happen on this ticker, I would strongly recommend it. Don't try to catch lows on Bitcoin right now without something like this happening here. And if you are trying to catch lows, don't do it aggressively, especially on futures. Don't do it with 100% of what you have in futures. Do it very lightly, ease in, and really be staring at this chart. And I gave the key level for this within the daily update, and I should be able to put it on real quick. It's should be right here. Well, I don't know where it went, but it's 14,430, I think, is what I put on the daily update. You really need that line, and that's what you're looking for the next potential trade setup. However, you might not get a trade setup here because this could really keep charging down, and this would be Bitcoin going to 37K. And this is an origin line down here per the daily update. I mean, it really is at risk of doing this. This sell-off, it could keep going, so be very careful. And that's personally what I'm waiting for before, probably only 40%, maybe even only 30% tethered up, unfortunately. I'm stuck in a lot of spot trades. I didn't pay attention to the Fed chair or Fed Governor Lael Brainard or whatever, whatever her name is. I mean, she single-handedly spooked the whole freaking market. But that's definitely wait for this. Don't try to blindly long. Don't aggressively try to catch lows. Wait for higher lows, both on crypto, but particularly this chart. And don't get fooled by a Bitcoin bounce. And remember, if Bitcoin's bouncing, but that chart's not, it's not a real bounce. It's going to succumb. And that's all I got for you. Be careful. We'll see you.